Hi, I'm Mr. Krason and welcome to U.S. History class. This is my 12th year teaching and my second year here at Stagg High School. I couldn't be more grateful and more proud to be here in the district that I grew up in, and I couldn't be more grateful and proud to be teaching the students I have this year. One assignment that students are working on for my class is a virtual locker. And since we don't have physical lockers right now, since students are not physically with us in the room, I figured we'd have a virtual locker. So in the virtual locker assignment, students had to include a couple things about them that reveal a little bit about who they are. So in my virtual locker, I have a guitar and a ukulele, because I do like to play music and actually do play guitar and ukulele a little bit. I'm lucky to be a dad of 2. I have a son who's turning 4 very soon, named Dennis, and I have a daughter named Noelle. She's turning 2 in February. I have a DePaul sweatshirt, and that's actually my undergraduate college. So my undergraduate degree was at DePaul for social science and political science under secondary education. So I did go on to obtain 2 more degrees. My first master's degree was at Olivet Nazarene University, and it was to become a reading specialist. I chose that master's because just a few years into teaching social studies, I further realized that to be successful in social studies, you have to be a strong reader. Literacy skills are so central to success in social studies. Being able to read primary sources, secondary sources, compare them, contrast them, make arguments based on them, that is really high level literacy skill that I felt a master's in reading would really help. And it did, it really did. My second master's was in curriculum and instruction, which really made sure that I was up to date with best teaching practices and really solidifying a core of backwards design where we're working from assessments and learning targets and making sure that we're teaching to those learning targets on a daily basis and having a very clear end goal of where we want to be. Unit 1 of the United States History curriculum is Revolution and the New Nation. So that focuses on the years 1763 to 1800. Starting with the end of the French and Indian War. So we just finished that unit, or actually we're almost finished with that unit, but it starts with the French and Indian War because it played a huge role in the debts that Britain incurred from that war and the relationship they had with the colonies throughout that war. So as a result, they're going to try to use the colonies to tax them to make up some of that debt, and taxation without representation is going to be a main sticking point for the colonists, among other things that will lead to the revolution. We look at causes of the revolution, we look at how the revolution transpires, we look at writings during the revolution and famous figures. We look after the revolution, how the country is established, look at the Constitution, look at the way the government forms, and we follow the government through its fledgling state till 1800. Oh, and then that unit actually closes with looking at modern revolutions and trying to make connections. The next unit is Sectionalism and the Civil War. So that covers the years of 1820 to 1865. This unit examines various causes of the Civil War, with a brief examination of the outcome of that war. Unit 3 is Freedom and Reform. This unit is a segue between the previous unit, and it's a quick look at Reconstruction with an emphasis on the equal rights struggle for recently freed slaves. Overall, the unit focuses on the reform movements and struggle for equality over time for African Americans, women, and American Indians. Some big ideas from the unit are discrimination and equality and role of government. The very next unit is Immigration and Industrialization. So that covers 1880 to 1920. This unit looks at the arrival of immigrants to the United States and how they impacted the social and economic landscape of the country. That's the end of semester 1, and semester 2 will then start up with a unit on American culture. This will cover years 1917 to present, and it examines American culture through the lens of media, so TV, music, and movies, and the rise of leisure activities and how those elements of society created a conservative pushback. The following unit is the Progressive Era, the Great Depression, and the New Deal. This unit is going to examine the role of government in solving social, political, economic, and environmental issues during the Progressive Era, the Great Depression, and also the New Deal. Then we'll go into the World Wars. So this unit will cover the causes and the impact of World War I and World War II. Therefore, it's going to cover from 1917 to 1945. The final unit is Cold War and Terrorism. This unit covers the events and responses to the Cold War, as well as the rising threat of terrorism to the United States in the first decades of the 21st century. So this is going to look at the years from about 1945 to really now. And then that is going to close out semester 2. So that's the year in a glimpse for U.S. history. The U.S. history curriculum is really about much more than just content. It's about understanding so many elements of being a good historian and being just a thoughtful person. So looking at things from multiple different perspectives, recognizing bias when you see it, and acknowledging that bias is pretty much everywhere. Being able to be a critical reader of text. I enjoy teaching students how to source a document and to look at when a person is writing something, what influences their writing. So the context of the situation we look at. We look at that author's point of view. So what job do they have maybe? And why does that affect the approach they're taking to a topic? In the remote learning setting, it's really important that students exercise respect towards each other and etiquette in all situations. It's easy to say things online that in person, it would be almost impossible to say to someone. So always be courteous and respectful to your classmates. When entering a Google Meet, please make sure that your microphone is set to off, just because when we're starting class, sometimes it can be distracting if students arrive with their mics on, and that might interrupt the instruction that's being given at that point if they're entering late, or just a conversation that's being had between teacher and student about a work or whatever it might be. I also ask that students keep on their video cameras during class. For attendance purposes, it's really helpful, and it's also helpful to be able to make a connection with the student and be able to see them eye to eye and actually have a conversation. Talking to a blank screen that the camera's off is difficult to form connections with. So please keep cameras on during class, if you're remote. When it came to organization before, I used to require keeping a binder. Now during remote learning and just in a digital age, I've transferred over to using just digital everything at the moment. So we are using Canvas as our learning management system, and all assignments have been posted in Canvas, as well as the agendas of what we're doing on a daily basis. So as far as organization is concerned, everything is on Canvas, and students are turning in their assignments through Canvas. Homework expectations are that homework is due and must be turned in by or before the time of the next class period. So if the class period is at 10 a.m., the next day before 10 a.m., that assignment has to be turned in. If a student is late turning in an assignment, in Skyward, I will be entering a 0 for it and a missing assignment, just to be able to notify them that the assignment is in fact missing. So that is nothing to panic at this time about. I am allowing late work to be turned in. If it is within the week, I am accepting it at full credit. If it is late by a week, I am removing partial credit from that assignment. So at this time, I feel it's really important to remain flexible. And at the beginning of the year here, first quarter, if a student is absent, all assignments are posted on Canvas. So you can go to the date in modules, look for that assignment, look for that day, and be able to find all the assignments and the agenda of what we worked on that day. So if a student is absent, I'd expect that not by the very next day, but at least by the day after that, students would have in their work for that missing day. If there's a test or a quiz that was assigned, if a student is absent the day of the test or quiz, it's still expected to be able to take that test or quiz the day they come back from that absence. There's always exceptions, and please do feel really free and comfortable to email me with any of those special requests or circumstances. I do really pay attention to special requests, and I do really try to make sure I'm being as fair and helpful as I possibly can. Skyward is the main place to check for grades. So although I use Canvas as a learning management system to collect papers, I do post all grades into Skyward instead for official purposes. So if you want to check the most updated grade, Skyward would be the place to go. If a student is having difficulties during the 8 o'clock to 9:30 hours on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, I can make myself available to assist through video chats whenever needed. So there are exceptions to that where there may be meetings or special meetings with parents during different hours, or even with other colleagues, especially on Wednesdays. But on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, during that time period from 8 to 9:30, time can be arranged where I can help and walk a student through a quiz or through special support that they might request or need. At this time, to request extra help, really just sending an email to me at pkrason@d230.org is enough to be able to request having extra support or help, or even just for a question that a student might have on an assignment that night. So emailing me is the quickest way to get to me and to be able to ask for support. You can also call. My phone number here at STAG is 708-974-7400, extension 7292. So again, it's extension 7292. I also have social media accounts that you could follow things we're doing in class, or just little photos and quotes and things like that I feel inspired by and send out. My Twitter is at the handle at Mr. Krason, so at MrKrason. I also have a YouTube channel that doesn't have too much on it, but some helpful videos and playlists are saved on there for students to check for enrichment, or just out of curiosity if they want to know more about a specific unit. I have videos that are organized for their viewing pleasure. That YouTube channel is available at EduKrason. So EduKrason is that YouTube channel's handle, or I guess the channel's name. Okay, so let's go on a little tour of the classroom. The 25% return to school, stage 2 model of return to school is going to be starting, I believe, to be very, very soon. And when students arrive in the classroom, they're going to notice that their desks are spaced 6 feet or more from each other. And they of course have to continue to wear a mask at all times in the school building, but the seats are also going to be distanced, as you can see. During this 25% stage 2 return to school model, for me, that means about 9 to 13 students will be present in the classroom at any one time. Everybody else would be logging in on Google Meets and joining us remotely, just as they have for the past few weeks. So in conclusion, this is going to be a challenging year, yes, but it's also going to be filled with many celebrations, many victories, many incredible memories, many amazing moments, many accomplishments, and just all around, it's going to be a great year. So I want to assure students that we're doing everything we can to make it a great year, and that we can't wait to have you back. And it means so much to be in this role right now, to be there for you and support you through this time, this class, and this school year. So go Chargers, forever orange and blue. We got this, you got this. So welcome to the 2020-2021 school year here at Stagg High School. We're so happy to have you, and you're gonna do great.
History has its own.